Listen, because what you're about to hear will shake you to your core. If your own children roll their eyes at you, if they interrupt you, dismiss you, or act like your wisdom has expired, this speech is not a message, it's a wake-up call. Because the truth is, respect is never lost, it's surrendered, and today you're taking it back. You've been told that aging means becoming invisible, that the world, and even your own family, has the right to tune you out. That is a lie. You are not a burden, you are the blueprint, but you've been too silent, too soft, too accommodating. Well, guess what? It ends today. In this video, I'm going to reveal 6 unshakable ways to regain respect when your children stop honoring who you are. And no, it's not about raising your voice. It's about raising your vibration. Because when your energy shifts, your entire household will feel it. This isn't just a parenting talk. This is emotional warfare for your dignity. By the end of this video, you'll walk different, talk different, command a room without saying a word. Respect isn't asked for, it's activated. So if you're ready to step into your power and rewrite the way your family sees you, smash that like button, drop a comment if you've ever felt ignored by your kids, and subscribe for more life-altering truths like this. Let's begin. The new you is waiting. You were not born to be tolerated. You were born to lead. Somewhere along the journey of parenting, you were convinced that love means sacrifice, that the more you gave, the more they'd understand. But they didn't. They took, and now they don't listen. They don't respect, they dismiss your words like noise in the background. That didn't happen because you failed. It happened because you forgot who you are. Respect is never earned through overgiving. It's earned through presence, certainty, and power. You tried to please your children to keep peace in the house, but peace built on your silence is not peace. It's submission. And submission is the fastest way to invisibility. You've been shrinking, softening, watering yourself down, thinking that's what good parents do. That's what kind people do. That's what selfless seniors do. But there's nothing noble about becoming invisible in your own family. Leadership starts the moment you stop asking for approval and start embodying truth. You don't need their validation, you need your alignment. Because when you're aligned with your inner authority, the world has no choice but to recalibrate around you, and that includes your children. Pleasing creates dependency. Leadership creates legacy. You weren't placed on this earth to be a doormat to your own blood. You were placed here to be a pillar. And a pillar doesn't beg to be seen. It stands tall, unshakable, necessary. You've been overextending yourself emotionally, financially, spiritually, hoping that your children would one day say, I see you. But real power never waits to be seen. It radiates. Leadership is not about control, it's about presence. The way you walk into a room, the way your eyes no longer beg for understanding, the way your silence becomes louder than your words. Because when you stop explaining yourself, you become a mystery again. And mystery commands attention. You don't need to shout to be heard, you just need to know who you are. Because when you stop being the person they expect and start becoming the person they respect, everything changes. They won't know why they're listening more. They won't know why they suddenly feel your power, but they will feel it, and it will shake them. Start removing the language of apology from your energy. Stop saying, I just thought, I only meant, I didn't want to bother. That is the language of someone trying to shrink their presence. You don't need to fit in anymore. You need to stand out, not with noise, with energy. You don't lead with control, you lead with certainty. The kind that doesn't flinch when they roll their eyes, the kind that doesn't retreat when your values are challenged, the kind that says, you may not see it now, but you will. That's real leadership. That's real power, and you already have it. You just forgot how to use it. You've spent years explaining yourself to people who already decided not to understand you. You keep talking, hoping your children will finally get it. But the more you explain, the less they listen. That's because respect doesn't grow in words. It grows in energy. When you explain, you're trying to earn what should already be given. Every time you justify yourself, you lower your authority in their eye. They don't need your reasons, they need your presence. Words don't fix disrespect, energy does. And your energy right now is seeking approval instead of commanding recognition. That's why they don't take your words seriously, because the frequency behind them is asking, not leading. You talk, but they scroll. You express, but they ignore. That isn't about them. That's about the vibration you're speaking from. You almost stop reacting to their silence with more explanation. You are not on trial. You are not waiting for a verdict. The moment you speak with the intent to prove, you've already lost ground. Respect doesn't come from talking more. It comes from needing to talk less. Not because you're giving up, but because your presence has become too powerful to dilute. When your children disrespect you, the worst thing you can do is argue your worth, because worth is not up for debate. You are not a defendant in their courtroom. You are the foundation they're standing on. They've just forgotten that, and so have you. If they've tuned you out, it's not because you're wrong. It's because you've over-explained and under-commanded. Stop repeating your values, start embodying them. They don't need another speech. They need a shift in posture. When you command respect, it's not because you're louder, it's because you've become quieter and more certain. Certainty has gravity. It pulls people in. It silences rooms without saying a word. You've trained them to expect your reasons. Break that cycle. Let your no be enough. Let your silence be the end of the discussion. Because when you no longer chase their understanding, you force them to meet you in your power. And that shift will speak louder than any explanation you've ever given. Every time you explain, you give them control over how you're perceived. Take it back. Say less, mean more. Speak once, let the silence do the rest. That silence will echo in their mind longer than 1,000 well-crafted speeches. Why? Because silence backed by strength is unforgettable. There is nothing more powerful than a parent who knows who they are and refuses to shrink. They may mock your silence now, but they will remember it when life humbles them. And when it does, it won't be your words they come back to. It'll be your presence, the stillness, the certainty, the unshakable energy that once stood in front of them without needing to explain a thing. You taught them to walk, now they walk over your boundaries. You gave them everything, now they give you silence. That didn't happen overnight. It happened the moment you made love louder than limits. When you remove boundaries in the name of peace, you destroy both. Because without limits, there is no structure, and without structure, there is no respect. You are not being disrespected by accident. You trained them how to treat you by allowing what should have been confronted. You allowed the late replies, the dismissive tones, the interruptions, the eye rolls, all in the name of keeping the relationship. But a relationship without boundaries isn't connection, it's captivity. And you're the one locked inside. You thought saying yes would make you lovable, but it made you ignorable, because boundaries are the edges of your self-worth. And when you erase the edges, you vanish. You thought you were being kind. They saw it as weakness, not because they're cruel, but because you gave them permission to believe your lines didn't matter. And now they don't even ask before crossing them. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be respected. And that begins by rebuilding every line you once softened. Boundaries aren't rejection, they are reflection. They reflect how deeply you honor yourself. And when you start to honor yourself again, the whole dynamic shifts. You won't need to demand respect. They'll feel it the moment they step too close to your standards. Start saying no without a reason. Start ending conversations that drain your energy. Start protecting your peace like it's your last breath. Because when you tolerate disrespect to avoid conflict, you teach them that disrespect is safe and that conflict is yours to carry. But the moment you reclaim your line in the sand, you send a different message. This space is sacred. This soul has limits. This presence cannot be used as a convenience anymore. They won't like it. And that's proof it's working. Because the old version of you was predictable, always available, always agreeable, always flexible. But the new you moves with clarity, not guilt. And clarity offends those who benefited from your confusion. Rebuilding boundaries means they'll question you. Let them. It means they'll get distant. Let them. It means they'll push back. Let them. Because the ones who truly love you will learn to respect you when they realize you finally respect yourself. And the ones who only loved your compliance will disappear. Good. You're not losing family. You're losing dysfunction. You're not becoming cold. You're becoming clear. And clarity is magnetic, even if it first feels like isolation. So if this is hitting your soul right now, smash that like button, drop a comment if you've ever sacrificed your peace to avoid a fight, and subscribe if you're ready to step back into your power. We're not done yet. Let's keep going, because the version of you that's been waiting in silence is about to rise. Your words mean nothing if your presence doesn't carry weight. You've been speaking with wisdom, but they're not listening because your presence has been downgraded to background noise. You don't need louder words, you need a stronger frequency. When you walk into the room, your energy should enter first, but right now, your presence whispers while your frustration screams. You've been trying to teach them lessons, but they don't learn from explanations. They learn from your embodiment. Your energy is tired, uncertain, or passive. They will treat you like you don't matter. That's not disrespect. That's a reflection. They are reflecting the version of you you've been projecting. And it's time to upgrade. Presence is not about posture or voice tone. It's about alignment. When you are aligned with your own truth, you don't need validation to feel grounded. You don't shrink when ignored. You don't chase after attention. You don't soften your boundaries for comfort. Because a powerful presence is not reactive. It's magnetic, Children, even grown ones, sense your energy before they hear your words. If they feel you don't trust yourself, they won't trust you either. If they sense you doubt your worth, they will treat you like you have none. If your energy is still seeking approval, they will keep you in that position, unseen, unheard, unacknowledged. Not because they mean to, but because you've made it easy. You don't shift your presence by changing how you talk. You shift it by changing how you think, how you breathe, how you move. When you walk with inner certainty, people stop what they're doing, not because you told them to, because your energy told them you've arrived. And that energy comes from radical self-respect. Stop dressing yourself in invisibility. Start wearing the power you forgot you had. Your presence should be a standard, not a suggestion. You've been trying to adapt to them, fit their moods, play it soft just to keep peace. But peace that requires your silence is just decorated disrespect. You were not meant to fade with age. You were meant to rise with wisdom. Upgrade your tone, not in volume, but in intention. Look them in the eye, not with fear, but with fire. Sit at the table, not with gratitude for being invited, but with the authority of someone who built the damn table. Your presence is a decision, not a reaction. Decide today that your space, your time, your energy, they all matter. Because the moment you believe that, so will everyone else. You don't have to explain your change. Let them feel it. You don't have to beg for their respect. Let your silence demand it. The version of you that tolerated being overlooked was the one they got used to. Shock them. Rise above the familiar. Walk into the next room like a storm they didn't see coming. Because when your presence evolves, their behavior will follow, or they'll fall away. Either way, you win. You've been reacting with your heart while they've been moving with their ego. That's why it hurts. That's why it drains you. It's engaging emotionally, hoping they'll finally understand, while they are operating from detachment, dominance, or distraction. You can't win a power struggle by caring more. You win it by elevating beyond the game. Emotional attachment to disrespectful behavior is how you stay trapped in cycles of disappointment. You keep feeling shocked when they ignore you. You keep feeling wounded when they disregard you. But your pain is not from what they did. It's from your expectation that they would do better. That expectation is the chain, that hope is the trap. The moment you detach emotionally is the moment you take back your power. When you stop needing a different version of them, you become the highest version of you. You stop taking their behavior personally. You stop trying to fix what they never asked to be repaired. You stop chasing emotional closure from people who aren't even aware they've caused harm. And in that detachment, you rise. This doesn't mean you stop loving them. It means you stop leaking energy into disrespect. You engage only when your peace is intact. You speak only when your voice is calm. You respond only when your soul is grounded. Because real power is not in your reactions, it's in your regulation. They won't understand at first. Your shift will confuse them. The silence will bother them. The neutrality will frustrate them. But that discomfort is not yours to manage. You are no longer responsible for protecting their comfort at the cost of your clarity. The version of you that overexplained, overcared, overfelt, it served its time. But now it's done. Emotional detachment is not coldness. It's control. It's mastery over your own mind. It's the wisdom to know when to speak and the strength to know when to walk away. And when you pair that detachment with energetic presence, you become undeniable. You no longer beg for connection. You command alignment. Start observing instead of absorbing. Start noticing instead of needing. And as you detach emotionally, you'll see the truth more clearly than ever. You don't need them to change to reclaim your strength. You just need to change the way you show up. You've been telling them who you are, but they still don't believe you. That's because people don't follow what you say, they follow what you live. You can speak about respect, boundaries, and values all day, but if your daily actions reflect the opposite, your words collapse under the weight of contradiction. You cannot preach strength and model submission. You cannot demand respect and walk like you've lost your value. They will never rise to meet your expectations if your life contradicts your message. You want them to treat you better, but what have you accepted from them in silence? You want them to listen, but have you stood firm when they crossed the line? You want to be honored, but have you honored yourself in front of them? The truth is, they don't follow instruction, they follow your demonstration. When you stop talking and start living as the standard, everything shifts. Not because you forced it, but because you became undeniable. You don't have to teach them how to respect you. You show them by how you treat yourself, how you respond to chaos, how you move through the world without needing permission. That's the real power. That's what they remember. They learn when you stay composed in the storm. They don't change because you cried. They change because you didn't break when they expected you to. Every time you stand tall in the face of disrespect without lowering your tone, you teach them something their ego can't ignore. Your calm becomes the correction. Your consistency becomes the conviction. You don't need to control the outcome, you need to control the example. When you become the embodiment of the energy you wish to receive, the world begins to mirror that frequency back to you. Your children, your environment, your relationships, they all begin to respond to your alignment, not because you told them to, but because they can feel that you're no longer available for anything less. Start living like your energy is sacred. Stop negotiating with behavior that insults your soul. Stop bending your truth to keep the peace. When they see that your standards are not just talk but law, they will shift or they will fall away. But either way, the example you set becomes the filter. And only those who match your integrity will remain. Let your actions declare who you are without the need for announcements. Let your growth speak so loudly that their disrespect feels out of place in your presence. The most powerful transformation you can offer is the one they didn't expect, the version of you that doesn't flinch, doesn't chase, doesn't beg, just becomes. And when you live like the example instead of chasing validation, their respect becomes inevitable because you become unforgettable.